As part of my reading journal practice, like most people, I like to give the books I read a star rating out of 5. There's no correct way to do this. It's totally valid to just give a book a rating based on your gut feeling or the vibes. I personally really enjoy rating books with something of a system. Throughout 2024, I used the Corpile rating system devised by G from the channel Book Roast, and I think it's a fantastic system, especially for anyone who likes to rate their reads with a more analytical approach. But it felt a little too technical for me. So I devised my own book rating system. And I named it after my cats. Hi, I'm Erin, notebook enthusiast and reader of books, and if you're looking for a book rating system that falls somewhere between the technicalities of Corpile and rating books just on the vibes, I hope my system might help you out too. If you're familiar with the Corpile rating system, you'll know it's an acronym standing for characters, atmosphere, writing, plot, intrigue, logic, and enjoyment. To use the system, you give the book a rating out of 10 across all of those categories, add that up to get a total out of 70, and then divide by 7. The resulting number corresponds to a star rating. My rating system is very much inspired by Corpile, and it wouldn't have been possible for me to devise it at all without the year I spent using Corpile, so I want to give G a huge shout out for creating such a cool rating system that it has become so widely used by the book community. My rating system is also an acronym, each letter standing for a category by which you rate the book, total the points, and then divide to get your final score. But in my system, since there are 5 letters to my acronyms instead of 7, you'll rate each category out of 5, add them up, and then divide that total by 5 to find your star rating. There's no need to compare the final number to a reference list, and you can use half and quarter star ratings as you like to get the level of nuance you prefer. I'm predominantly a fiction reader personally, but for the odd occasion that I do read a non-fiction book, and for those of you who do read more non-fiction than I do, I've come up with a variation on my rating system that is just for non-fiction too. So let me show you how it works, starting with the fiction rating system. It's called Peach, and it's named after this fluffy little angel who is a recent addition to my family. She's actually Peaches, but I wanted 5 letters, so Peach it is. In this system, P stands for plot, E is for enjoyment, A is for artistry, C is for characters, and H is for heart. I'll go into a bit more depth on each of these individually, starting with plot. This is all about what happens in the book. Did you like the events of the book, the structure? Was it easy to follow? Was it complicated? Did you feel like it was well paced? Did any parts of the book surprise you, or did you think it was predictable? Were you bored at any point? Based on just the plot, what would you give this book out of 5? Our next category is enjoyment. Did you like the book? How much did you like the book? Here are some of the factors that I use to work out if I really loved a book. Did it make you want to stay up all night reading it? Did you think about the book when you weren't reading it? Would you read it again? Would you recommend it to a friend? Give the book a rating for enjoyment out of 5. Our next category is artistry, which is all about how the book was written, the specific words that the author chose to communicate the story. Was it written well? Was it engaging? Was the writing beautiful or poetic or awkward or clunky or perfunctory or dry or florid? Were there any writing devices that pulled you out of the story? Give the book a rating out of 5 just for its artistic merit. The next category is the characters. Did you love them? Did you hate them? Did you love to hate them? Did you identify with any of the characters? Did you feel that they were complex or shallow or believable? Did any of them feel caricatured and overdone to you? Were the characters consistent, and did they grow throughout the story? You know what to do. Give the book a rating out of 5 just for its characters. And my last category is heart, and for me this is what was missing from the Corpile rating system that I feel I needed. This is like the X factor that only the most special books have, where they stay in your heart for weeks and months after you read them, maybe even years. The determining factors for this one are, were you still thinking about it weeks after you read the book? Did it make you feel seen in some way? Could you see it becoming a comfort read for you in the future? Do you wish you could live in the pages of this book? Do you need everyone you know to read it so that you can talk about it with them? These are the signs of a book with heart, so give your book a rating out of 5 based on how much it has wormed its way into your heart. Now we have to do a little bit of maths. I'm sorry about that, but I promise it's not too difficult. We're going to take the scores that you gave the book across each of those 5 categories and add them up for a total out of 25, then divide that total number by 5, and the number you're left with is your star rating for the book. Let me show you an example of the rating system in action on a book I finished recently, The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson. This is a dark retelling of the story of the Nutcracker, and I gave it 4 out of 5 for the plot. Very good, but not a 5-star plot for me. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 for enjoyment. I did really like it, but it didn't make me want to stay up all night to keep reading. I've given it 3 out of 5 for artistry. I think the writing was fine. Certainly no complaints, but I personally really enjoy a beautifully written book. 4 out of 5 for the characters. I think they feel very whole and complete and believable. And 3 out of 5 for heart. I really enjoyed the interesting take on the Nutcracker, and I would recommend this book to friends, but I don't think I would ever read it again. This brings us to a total of 17.5 out of 25 for The Kingdom of Sweets, which when divided by 5 gives us 3.5, which means my star rating for The Kingdom of Sweets is 3.5 stars. Next, we'll discuss the non-fiction rating system, but if that's not of interest to you, you can use the video chapters down below to skip ahead. My non-fiction rating system is also a 5-letter acronym, and it spells MITSU, which is the name of my beautiful fluffy boy who, if you've spent any time on this channel before, you've probably already met. So what does the acronym MITSU stand for in this case? We have M for message, I for insight, T for tone, S for style, and U for utility. I do just want to add a little disclaimer that because I don't actually read very much nonfiction, there's a good chance the system will need some refining in the future. But let's discuss those categories in a little bit more detail. So the message. Did the book have a clear message and did it communicate it well? Did you feel convinced by it? Do you think other people would benefit from reading this book? Give the message a rating out of 5. Next we have insight. Did the book change the way that you think about something? Did it reinforce a concept that you already knew? Did anything from the book strike you as particularly profound? How insightful was the book? Rate it out of 5 for insight. Then we have tone, which is all about feelings. What did the book aim to make you feel, and did it succeed in that? Did it make you laugh or cry or angry or roll your eyes or some combination of the above? Did it feel like reading a textbook or like having a conversation with a friend or something else? Rate it out of 5 for tone. Then we have style, which is the execution of the book, the way it's written. Was it written well? Was it engaging? Was the writing beautiful or poetic or awkward or any of the things we talked about before? Did the writing ever make you want to stop reading the book? Give the book a rating out of 5 for style. And the last category is U for utility, which is a bit of a tricky one. Much like the H for heart rating in the Peach system, this one is about how the book affects you in the future. Did it stay with you for weeks after you read it? Did it make you feel seen? Did you change your behavior or your beliefs because of this book? Has reading this book improved your life in some way? Basically, was it useful to you? Obviously, nonfiction is a really broad category, and not every nonfiction book has to be useful per se. Certainly, biographies don't necessarily give us tools for life, but you can adapt this category as you need. So if you feel like a book touches you, that would go into the utility rating. The mathematical side of the MITSU rating system works in the exact same way as the Peach system. Each category rated out of 5 comes to a total out of 25. That total is then divided by 5, and the remaining number is your star rating. Once again, let's put it into practice with a nonfiction book that I've read. This is Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell. It's a really interesting mix of social commentary and linguistic study, I guess. I've given it 4 out of 5 for its message, which I think is just awareness of the cults that we all participate in our lives. 4 out of 5 for insight. I thought it was a really insightful read. 4 out of 5 for tone. Although it was approaching some fairly dark topics, it did it in a really funny way, made it very approachable. 4 out of 5 for style as well. I thought the writing was very good. And also 4 out of 5 for utility, just to make me aware of some of the traps that you can fall into in life where you end up finding yourself in a situation that's a little bit culty. That means it has 20 points total, which divided by 5 gives us a star rating of 4. I'm so excited to implement these rating systems in my reading for 2025, and I'm really interested in your results too if you use them. If you have any feedback, I would love to hear it. And if you do end up using these systems and adapting them to suit you better, that is fantastic. I think you should absolutely go for that. You have my full blessing to do so. Wishing you all the best for your 2025 reading adventures. I hope this year brings you lots of 5-star reads and lots of new favorites. If you're keen to keep watching, here is a link to my new reading journal setup in a square journal, and underneath that is a playlist of all of my reading journal adventures through 2024. Happy New Year!